When you drop salt into the toilet, you're not just performing some odd ritual. You're sending a message to yourself, to your spirit, to the universe. Salt has been used for centuries as a purifier, a cleanser of space, of energy, of intention. But think deeper. The toilet is not something we often talk about with reverence. It's where we discard what we no longer need. It's hidden, it's behind the door, and yet it is essential. Just like the parts of ourselves we keep buried, unspoken, avoided, the emotions we suppress, the habits we hide, the wounds we pretend are healed. You see, real transformation doesn't begin with what people can see. It begins in the places no one talks about, in the quiet, private spaces where your pain lives, where resentment still lingers, where regret still echoes. That's what needs purifying. And when you pour salt into that place, you're declaring, even this part of me matters. Even this part deserves to be clean, not judged, not shamed, just released, just honored, just healed. You don't need to broadcast your healing to the world. You just need to start. And the moment you pour that salt, you're no longer passive. You're participating in your own cleansing. You're giving attention to the inner world, where true growth begins, not in loud declarations, but in silent choices. The things that weigh us down are often the things we believe are too small, too messy, or too personal to matter. But they do matter because over time they grow, and they rot, and they block the flow of clarity and peace. So today, choose to purify what no one sees, because the deepest healing begins not in what you show to the world, but in what you dare to cleanse when no one is watching. When you pour salt into the toilet and flush, you're not just getting rid of physical waste. You're performing a symbolic release and energetic shift. Most people underestimate how much they're still holding on to. Not in their hands, but in their body, in their spirit, in their energy. Regret from 10 years ago. Words never said. Pain never processed. These things may not be visible, but they stay lodged within, quietly shaping how we feel, how we move, how we live. Now think what happens when you never release it. It furs. It stagnates, just like a toilet that never flushes. That's why this simple act, as strange as it may seem, holds power. Salt amplifies intention. The flush becomes a letting go. The moment you do it, you've already changed something within yourself. You've agreed to stop carrying what you were never meant to keep. Energy doesn't just disappear, it transforms. And transformation requires movement, release. You must give the pain somewhere to go. You must give the heaviness a path out. People try to meditate, journal, pray, but still feel blocked. Why? Because they're not releasing. They're thinking about release. They're planning it. But this is different. This is physical. This is real. You pour, you flush, you move forward. And what you're really doing is telling your subconscious, I am no longer willing to store this inside me. That one action breaks cycles. That one action opens space for something new to flow in. It may feel small, but energy doesn't respond to size. It responds to truth. It responds to clarity. Because the moment you release what no longer belongs to you, you begin to remember who you really are. You could drop salt into a toilet 100 times, and nothing would change unless you do it with intention. That's the missing key for so many people. They go through the motions, hoping for change, repeating habits, mimicking rituals, but their mind is somewhere else. Their spirit isn't involved. There's no presence, no purpose. And without intention, there can be no transformation. Intention is what turns action into alignment. It's the difference between just flushing waste and releasing old energy. It's the difference between throwing salt and declaring, "I am letting go." You see, it's not the act alone that carries the power. It's the meaning behind it. And when your thoughts, your words, and your action are aligned in the same moment, something shifts. You're no longer operating on autopilot. You're awake. Even the most ordinary act becomes sacred when you bring your full awareness to it. The salt becomes a tool, the toilet becomes a portal, and you become a participant in your own transformation. You're not waiting to be saved. You're not asking the world to change first. You are moving first. You are stepping into the process with full presence, with full sincerity. Don't underestimate how deeply your intention communicates with your reality. When you act with clarity, life listens. When you move with purpose, doors open. This is why ancient masters never focused only on what you did, but on how you did it. With what mindset, with what energy, because everything is energy, and energy moves where intention goes. So when you perform even the smallest ritual, bring your whole self into it. Because one intentional action has the power to shift not only your day, but your destiny. We all understand that the body needs to release. When we eat, there's waste. When we breathe, there's an exhale. But what many overlook is that the spirit also needs a place to release negative energy, emotional heaviness, mental tension. They build up just like physical toxins. And if you don't give that energy a way out, it stays stuck. It clouds your clarity, disrupts your sleep, weakens your focus. Now imagine this. What if the toilet could be more than just a physical drain? What if it could also represent a spiritual one? A place where the unseen weight could go. When you drop salt into it, you're not just cleaning porcelain. You're sending a signal. I am done holding on to this. Whether it's fear, jealousy, shame, or sorrow, the energy has to go somewhere. Let it go there. Let it drain. You're not meant to carry everything. But that's what we do. We carry old arguments, harsh words, painful memories, and we keep them inside. That's not strength. That's blockage. Just like a clogged pipe leads to overflow, a clogged spirit leads to breakdown. So you must create space for release. Let the salt be the invitation. Let the flush be the moment of surrender. Let the silence afterward be your reminder it is gone. And when you do this, you'll notice something beautiful. You feel lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you allowed the energy within you to move. This is what cleansing truly means. Not hiding your pain, not pretending it's not there, but allowing it to pass through you without resistance. Because when energy is allowed to leave, your true self is allowed to rise. It's not enough to just let go of the old. You must also prepare space for what's new. A cluttered space can't hold clarity. A block pipe can't carry clean water. And a heart crowded with past pain cannot receive fresh blessings. This is the part most people forget. They release, but they don't ready. They remove, but they don't renew. And so life remains the same. When you pour salt into the toilet and flush, you're not just discarding, you're preparing. You're saying to the universe, this space is now available for something better. Think about that. It's more than a flush. It's an invitation, a clearing, a declaration that you are open again. Not bitter, receptive, not blocked, soft enough to grow, strong enough to begin again. It's the same with your thoughts, your emotions, your environment. If your mind is filled with self-doubt, there's no room for confidence to land. If your spirit is tangled in old betrayals, love won't feel safe coming in. So you must not only release the negative energy, you must actively create space for peace, joy, purpose to take root. You must make your life a place where blessings feel welcomed. This is what sacred rituals teach us. Not magic, not superstition, but alignment. They help us slow down and remember what I clear, I make room for. What I honor, I attract. The salt becomes a humble offering. The flesh becomes a signal. The moment becomes a seed. And in that simple act, something shifts. Not outside of you, but within. You are no longer just surviving. You are preparing. You are no longer just coping. You are cultivating. And when life sees that you are ready, truly ready, the blessings you once chased will start to arrive without force. Because blessings are drawn to clean, open spaces. Just like water flows where the path is clear, we often search for change in loud, dramatic places, in breakthroughs, in big decisions, in once-in-a-lifetime moments. But transformation doesn't always arrive with an awe storm. Sometimes it enters through a whisper, through something so small, so ordinary, that the mind almost dismisses it. Yet the soul knows. It recognizes the power of a small ritual done with sincerity. That's what placing salt in your toilet becomes. A small act, but not meaningless. Not if you're present, not if you're clear about why you're doing it. Because true power is never in the size of the action. It's in the quality of the energy behind it. When you repeat a simple gesture with intention again and again, you create momentum, and that momentum builds shift. People wait years for their life to change, but ignore the daily habits that keep them stuck. They want to feel free, but won't release what weighs them down. They want peace, but fill their space and mind with noise. Change doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from doing less, but doing it with absolute awareness. That's what small rituals are, anchors, remainders, silent choices that say, I am showing up for myself, even if no one sees it. The salt, the flush, the breath you take after. It's not superstition. It's self-connection. It's choosing to live consciously in a world that rushes you to forget who you are. If a single action done with truth can shift your inner state, then why would you wait for something grand? Every great transformation begins with one quiet decision. Every storm begins with one shift in wind. And every healed life begins with a single moment of choosing differently. So trust the small rituals. Trust the power they carry. Because the smallest act done in alignment can move more energy than the biggest act done in fear.